Hey la la, ya la la, Simbaba doo ba
Welcome, and today we're going to talk about writing an informative explanatory text. This correlates with Common Core Standards ELA Literacy W3.2, writing informative explanatory text to examine a topic and convey ideas and information clearly. Authors write for many different reasons. One reason is to inform or explain something to readers. This is usually called non-fiction writing or informative explanatory texts. In fact, authors write all kinds of text to explain or inform. Text can be anything from a non-fiction book on animals to an instructional manual on how to build or use something. First thing when writing an informative text is to set your purpose. Why are you writing this text? To inform or to explain? For today's example, we will be showing you examples from an animal report and inform our readers all about a certain kind of animal. When we write, we use something called the writing process. This helps the writer create a thorough report, and it takes a couple of steps to get through, but it's well worth it at the end. There are 6 steps to the writing process: pre-writing, drafting, sharing, revising, editing, and publishing. As the name implies, pre-writing is what happens before you do any writing. It's a time to do a little thinking and experimenting. First thing is first, pick a topic. Second, you want to use a graphic organizer. This helps keep your thoughts organized. Don't rush this step, and no thought is too small to put down on paper. The second step is all about drafting, or your first draft. Once you decide what you're writing about and you've written down some ideas, this is where you start writing. This is not your final copy. This is the place to experiment with your writing. Use a graphic organizer as a guide to help you write your first draft. The important thing to remember is not to give up. Writing can be difficult, but if you run out of ideas, switch to a different part of your writing and work there instead. The third step is all about sharing your writing with other people and getting feedback on your first draft. You don't have to be finished with your draft in order to share it, and it's a good idea to share it a couple of times. You could share it with a friend, a classmate, or a teacher. Have the person you share with give you comments on what they like or do not like about your writing. Then, take what they say and bring that back to your work and to step 4. Fourth step is revising. To revise means to rework your first draft. Take the comments you've heard from sharing your piece and see if you can make your writing a little better from the reader's point of view. Prior to this step, the writing was about you and your writing. Now that you've heard some comments from a reader or listener, see what you can change or include. Think about your audience. What would they ask or want to know more about? Plan your changes first and then make them on a new piece of paper, transferring what you wrote onto that new piece of paper with those changes. Make sure, don't be afraid to repeat step 4 until you think your writing is just right. 5. Editing is more about fine-tuning your writing. Think of it as a mechanic who makes sure the car is working. The car is already built, but sometimes it needs some minor changes. The same thing can be said about editing stage. This is where you take care of problems like writing conventions, meaning spelling, punctuation, grammar, and usage. You can also make small changes to your revisions, maybe a sentence or wording, but if you find yourself working on bigger changes, go back to step 4, revising. After you've found all the errors, make your corrections and then transfer your writing again to a new copy. Take your time because you're getting to the final step of the writing process. The final step of writing process is step 6, publishing. This is known as your final copy. This is where you've finished your editing and you've transferred your writing to a new and final copy. Make sure you take your time and check your editing to ensure that you don't have any mistakes. After you've finished your final copy, add any artwork, maps, diagrams, or other illustrations you want to your writing. Congratulations, you've finished your informative explanatory writing. This can be a long process, but it's definitely worth the time, as you can tell. Keep all your work from the writing process up to your final published piece to show all the hard work that you've done. And finally, be proud of your work.
Hey la la, ya la la, Simbaba doo ba Simbaba doo ba Deyu Kipa Kirat and Jero Jeret Bishop Jeparinge